And welcome to the FEL Sports Car Championship Canada, presented by Michelin as part of the Castrol Victoria Day SpeedFest here at Canadian Tire Motorsport Park. I'm Dave Bradley. Join with me as Pat Gonsalves as we take you through the first race of the season for the GT4s, the TCR, and the TCA classes that will all be racing on the track at the same time. You see the GT4 class cars will go out in a group amongst themselves, followed by the TCR class cars, and then the TCAs will round out the grouping on track. There is differences that you will note as we see some smoke from one of the cars, just a little burn off of some oil from Ron Tomlinson in the 48, but we'll take you through the starting lineup and then we'll take you through the differences in the cars. But the GT4s will be led off by that brand new Mustang, driven by the defending series champion, the 22 of Jack Polito. Outside of him will be the 77 Caden Goodridge, making his first start in the GT4s here in the SCCC. Then Justin DiBenedetto is also in another Porsche in the 4. Again, he moves up from the TCRs into the GT4s. Then we get back into the TCR class, and starting on pole is Richard Boak. Interesting to note, the 84, quickest of anybody in qualifying, but he'll lead off that second group in the Audi. Dean Baker in the 52 will roll off in second. Then Quinn Atrell, a good qualifying effort in the 86. Ron Tomlinson in the 48 Audi. Connor Atrell drives the number 80 Hyundai. Then it's Megan Tomlinson, Gary Kwok, the first of the Hondas. Jonathan Young, another one of the Honda Civics out on track in the 8 car. He'll roll off in the 11th spot. Anthony Martello, what a story here. The youngest driver to ever participate in the Sports Car Championship Canada Series at just 15 years old. This will be a driver to watch in the 95. He'll roll off in 12th, and then we get to the TCA class, and that's where we find the 25 Barracudas. He had a quick run in qualifying, well ahead of the 5 of Robert Cipriani-Dietrich, who moved out of the Radicals into a sedan running the TCA class here in the Sports Car Championship Canada, presented by Michelin. And then Chloe Drummond makes her first start in the 26, and Peter Hansen in the 12 will round out the field. So as we mentioned, 3 different classes on track all at the same time. That is an example of a GT4 class car. As a matter of fact, it's brand new, prepared out of the Multimatic race shop. 450 horsepower, about 3,200 pounds, top speed about 260 kilometers an hour. And it's got perks like adjustable aero, sequential gearbox, and it's got a blue number panel that will distinguish one vehicle to the next. The TCR class, there's a good example of the TCAs. That's about 190 horsepower, 2,400 pounds, and a top speed of about 150 kilometers an hour. They're front-wheel drive, about 1.5-liter turbo 4 cylinders. So that's really the entry level to the FEL Sports Car Championship Canada, presented by Michelin. In the middle is the TCRs, and that's the biggest group of cars we have on the track. That's where you'll find the Hyundais, the Audis, and the Hondas. About 350 horsepower and lighter weight, 2,700 pounds, just under 2,800 pounds, and front-wheel drive, a 2-liter 4-cylinder turbo in the TCR. So very different cars, but interesting to see how the difference in performance matches up here in this series. As the GT4s will start, there will be a break. It will bring the TCR class cars onto the front stretch, but the green flag will wave for the first time here in 2024. As we head off into turn number 1, Jack Polito will take top spot fairly handily and leave the 2 Porsches to battle side by side.
Looks like the 77 of Caden Goodridge got up there into second, with DiBenedetto and the other Porsche running third. Now the second of the groups coming to the line. The biggest class here, of course, TCRs. There's the green flag. And they'll go side by side across the line into turn number 1. And in this TCR class, we had a couple of, or the one driver, Anthony Martella, had some kind of a technical infraction. He was put to the back end of that group. As we pick up on that Polito Ford Mustang, the GT4 cars working out of Moss Corner up the Andretti straightaway here on this opening lap of this 40-minute run. Polito has been, for the most part, quickest in the test sessions yesterday. They did have that wet track practice right at the end of the day Friday, but it's been pretty much dry all the way around. And here's your leader in TCR. It is the 52 of Dean Baker, who got the jump on Richard Boak, 84. Boak in second after turning the fastest lap among all of the cars earlier today in that qualifying session.
Dean Baker from right here in Bowmanville, Ontario. As a matter of fact, he is the defending series champion in the TCR class. The runner-up is the car that's chasing him on track, but what a run there by one of the Atrells, who sits in the Hyundai Veloster just in behind. Did want to touch a little bit on the GT4 class cars, though, and Jack Polito just a fraction of a second. Oh, Megan Tomlinson, a big wiggle out of turn number 9, in between turn number 9 and 10. Gathered it back up, did not hit the wall, but was headed that way for a short period of time. The 38 had to grab a handful of wheel, making her first start in the TCR class after jumping up from the TCA last year. There's Anthony Martella. There is Megan Tomlinson, that blue-nosed Audi. And no doubt her heart rate is well up at this point, because she saw a lot of concrete just in front of her. But heads up driving to probably pedal her way out of it. But there is the leading 22 of Jack Polito. And again, he was just 100th of a second off a track record time in the GT4 class. That one is set by Marco Signoretti, and it has stood for a couple of years now here in the Sports Car Championship Canada presented by Michelin. But Polito, again, that brand new car, and they're working out the kinks. They still have a lot of maneuvering and a lot of ways they can make it better. They're still learning. I talked to his father in the pits, and he said we can throw out last year's book. His car is completely different than the one we ran last year to a championship. And Polito just still trying to figure that out. So watch his lap times continue to fall.
And Polito does have the fastest lap of the race so far, minute 22.959. And then we've got that chasing pack of TCR cars led by Dean Baker, 52, Richard Boak, 84, second, 86. Good run here this weekend for Quinn Atrell in car number 86. He is third in the TCR class. 66, Gary Kwok in the Honda runs fourth. And then Connor Atrell in car number 80 rounds out your top 5 here in TCR. Looking a little bit further down in the TCA class, it is Eric Coons in car number 25 as the leader in that Honda Civic, followed by Robert Cipriani, the Tress, and then 12, Peter Hansen, who is third in TCA. And then finally, the rookie, Chloe Drummond, coming out of the karting ranks in car number 26. She is fourth in TCA.
Let's take a short break. You're watching Sports Car Championship Canada Racing from Canadian Tire Motorsport Park. The Sports Car Championship Canada is brought to you by Michelin, the presenting partner of FEL Motorsports. By Braden Motorsport, the official trackside tire support and service provider for FEL Motorsports. The CTMP Cup is presented by Omologato, the official timepiece partner of FEL Motorsports. The FEL Motorsports Nitro Center is brought to you by Purity Gas, the official nitrogen supplier for FEL Motorsports.
VPX back to entry. So both Justin DiBenedetto, who's running second in track, and Caden Goodrich in the 77. So DiBenedetto in the 4. You might recognize that name. He's into his third year racing in the Sports Car Championship Canada Series presented by Michelin. However, the previous years he's been racing a TCR class car. There's Tomlinson and the 8 of Jonathan Young. And Megan Tomlinson has managed to get around the 8 of Jonathan Young and pick up one spot. So she continues to march back forward after that little bobble cost her some real estate on track, as we look back to a dice between the 12 of Peter Hansen and the 26 of Chloe Drummond. And a really interesting story about that 26 car. Chloe Drummond making her very first start. And as a matter of fact, she's moving up from the karting ranks. So one of those carts to cars transitions in that Hyundai Veloster N Turbo TCA. But the car won 3 races with James Vance at the wheel at the Toronto Indy. But Chloe is just learning as much as she can here today. And she's a 2-time karting champion at the kart track just beside us here at the Mosport Karting Center. So as a matter of fact, she runs the grid for the Arrive and Drive program throughout the week. So she's very hands-on in the motorsports industry and has been given this opportunity to race that number 26 TCA class car. And again, it's a steep learning curve when you go from karts into cars, but she's got a pretty good team in the pits there as Polito works through the slower traffic. And there you can see the difference in horsepower. Just watch that car get fired off the corner, and it looks like Chloe Drummond going to take advantage of a little bit of a slowdown from the 12 of Peter Hansen, but Drummond now has to move way to the other side of the track because here comes the twin Porsches to move through and try and put a lap down on those 2 cars as the 2 TCA cars now sort out and go single file. So Drummond does pick up a spot.
That is the battle there for 3rd and 4th in TCA. Peter Hansen's had some kind of an infraction in qualifying, was actually DQ'd, so started at the back of the TCA cars, but right now is involved in a pretty good scrap there with Chloe Drummond. Ran the regional race here a couple of weeks ago, was very competitive in the car as a bit of a tune-up for this opening round of the Sports Car Championship Canada Series. As we work lap number 6, the race leader Jack Polito going through here about 3 seconds clear of that pair of Porsches. In the 4, Justin De Benedetto is second in GT4, and then Caden Goodridge in the 77 who is 3rd. But the fastest lap of the race so far actually belongs to your leader in TCR, Dean Baker, in car number 52, and he probably has more experience here at Canadian Tire Motorsport Park than any of the other drivers, particularly a bunch of racing in the F1600 series, but has been one of the real strong runners in TCR. And right now he is opening it up over the driver running in the 2nd place spot. That is quickest qualifier Richard Boak. Quinnetrell 86 3rd in TCR, 66 Gary Kwok in the Honda Civic 4th, and still Connor Attrell also in the Hyundai rounding out your top 5. Anthony Martella, who started in the back of the TCR grid, has gone through here. He's just turned his fastest lap of the race, 1:23.500 for Martella, this talented teenager, really making a name for himself in car number 95. I believe you're saying, Dave, that Jonathan Woolridge is his driver coach, but I know he's also been working with high performance coach Dr. Jacques Dallaire, as many of the top racing drivers do. And right now Martella continues to impress, and looks like going through there was Quinnetrell. That lap was no quicker, so he continues to run 6th overall and 3rd among the TCR cars.
Yeah, Connor Attrell has some company in the Hyundai Elantra and TCR. He's got the 66 of Gary Kwok, one of the 2 Hondas in the field, the Honda Civics. And Kwok was putting pressure, a little bit of smoke coming from that car, and now he starts to slow down as Anthony Martella moves around without much challenge, as a matter of fact. It looks like Gary Kwok just pulled to the side. So keep an eye on that 66. We'll see if he pulls down pit lane this time for service. Ron Tomlinson not too far behind there. So Tomlinson will be soon up on the 66 of Gary Kwok, if that's in fact what is happening. But a little bit of smoke started hazing from the 66 of Kwok, driving that 2023 Honda Civic. The FK7, he's in his 4th season. He actually had a pole at the Grand Prix de Trois-Rivières after wadding that car up at the streets of Toronto. He bent a lot of it, and I asked him how long it took him to fix it. He'd said pretty much a straight week of working on it, but then he went and sat on the pole at the GP3R in that car. So Gary Kwok, a longtime veteran here in motorsport circles in Canada, and starting to become a veteran here in the FEL Sports Car Championship Canada, presented by Michelin. Still Dean Baker out in front, last year's champion in the TCR class. This year, as a matter of fact, he's not racing a full season. Going to do some dabbling in the U.S., but is going to take part in what's being called the CTMP Cup. So something that's brand new here for the Sports Car Championship Canada Series, presented by Michelin. Covers all 3 classes. And it collects points through the 4 races here at Canadian Tire Motorsport Park. So on Victoria Day, and then on the Labor Day sprints, and the CTMP Cup, presented by Homologato Watches, is a new championship within a championship, and it gives somebody like a Dean Baker. I don't want to commit to a full season, but I want to do something and make it worth my while. Well, that's exactly what this is going to do, and he seems to be off to a pretty good start at 52.
Let's take a short break. You're watching Sports Car Championship Canada Racing from Canadian Tire Motorsport Park. Welcome back to race number 1 of the Sports Car Championship Canada, presented by Michelin.
Dean Baker off of turn number 10 will come to the line. That lap, another quick one at 1:22 and change. He still has the fastest lap of the race. Also looking at the charge up through the TCR field by Anthony Martella. He was all over Connor Attrell as they completed that lap. Those drivers have been going back and forth. And also the fight among the TCA cars. Eric Coons, 25, is your leader in TCA, running 13th overall. Then the 5 of Robert Cipriani Detresse in the 2nd place position. And Chloe Drummond has gotten around Peter Hansen in car number 12. So Drummond up in the 3rd in TCA, and they've been battling together on the racetrack. And right now, that Martella car is all over Connor Attrell. This is the race for 4th in TCR as they work their way down towards Moss Corner. And there is Martella to within a couple of car lengths. That Quaker State-sponsored Hyundai number 80 car trying to hold off Martella, who is on the charge here. He tucks right up under the rear wing of that Hyundai to within just about a car length. We'll see whether or not he'll attempt the pass going into turn 8. Martella on the outside, but he's going to have to tuck in here on the number 80 of Attrell. Now he'll try to pass him on the outside into 9 as it sets up beautifully for the inside run here into turn number 10. And we've got a new 4th place runner in TCR as the 15-year-old from Toronto, Anthony Martella, has gotten around that 80 car. And then there is Gary Kwok in the Honda right there. So the Audi, the Hyundai, and the Honda running right together in 4th, 5th, and 6th in TCR.
Yeah, my prediction of the 66 of Gary Kwok going to the pits because he was showing some smoke, absolutely wrong. As now Gary Kwok starting to put pressure on the 80 of Connor Attrell. But that pass really started on the exit of turn number 5, a wiggle from the 80 just on the entrance to the Andretti straightaway, and that cost him some momentum. It allowed the number 95 of Anthony Martella to move up and around in turn number 8 and 9. and into that position, but still out in front is the 22 of Jack Polito, nearly 4 seconds out in front of Justin Di Benedetto. And give you an idea of Jack Polito and how good he's been here at Canadian Tire Motorsport Park. He has never lost when he's behind the wheel of a GT4 car. As a matter of fact, his career in the FEL Sports Car Championship Canada Series, 16 starts, 11 wins. Every single one of those races he's finished on the podium, an average finish of 1.44. That's how good Jack Polito is behind the wheel of that 22 and behind the wheel of the previous version of the 22, because this is a brand new car.
And of course, before he moved to the Sports Car Championship Canada Series, dabbled around, I think, for a couple of years in F1600s, and he was a dominant driver there in the series, running for Brian Graham Racing. Your race leader, Jack Polito, in that Polito Ford Mustang through turn 8 in a 9. This will be lap number 11 going up on the board, still chasing the fastest lap of the race. But right now belongs to your TCR leader, who is 4th overall, Dean Baker, in car number 52. Polito goes through. That last lap was 1:23.504. De Benedetto and Goodrich in 2nd and 3rd in the Porsches. And they're pretty much strung out here around the racetrack in GT4. And here is the Dean Baker run. That's another quick 1:22 second lap time. So right now, Baker is the fastest car on the racetrack. Richard Boak, who is 2nd in TCR, matching him with a quick 1:22 second lap. And then Quinnitrell, 86, 3rd in TCR. And now we wait for Anthony Martella, who is 4th. And Martella again continues to lower those lap times. 1:23.153 for Anthony Martella will be his fastest lap of the race. And then followed by Connor Attrell in car number 80, who rounds out the top 5. Followed by Gary Kwok, Ron Tomlinson, 48, and then Megan Tomlinson going through here. She's just turned her fastest lap of the race here, 1:25.269.
For Connor Attrell there on your screen in the Hyundai Elantra N TCR, this is just all about finishing. Last year for that entire team, it was just one frustration after another. They had definitely one of those seasons that they wanted to forget. Attrell was coming off a win in 2022 in the TCR class, moved into this Elantra N when Bob Attrell, his father, stepped into retirement. We can say that with loose quotes because he's been back in a car since, but he opened up this particular car for Connor to take over, and it's just been one, as I mentioned, mechanical issue or an issue on the track or a small breakage that's just been taking them out of contention. So for Connor Attrell running in 8th on track right now, that would put him in a top 5 position for the TCR class. This would be a good finish for him. That's what he just needs to start building that confidence once again, and at least get those finishes and start collecting some points.
Well, Dean Baker has been absolutely brilliant here, running 4th overall and leading TCR, as Richard Boak continues to try to chase him down. Looking at those lap times, both drivers in the 1:22s, but Boak was a little bit quicker by about 0.3 of a second, and he's actually starting to close in here on Dean Baker after Boak had an absolutely brilliant qualifying run with a lap there at 1:21.725. So
I love about these cars is you watch Boak just lean it through turn number 8. You can see that rear tire lifting up. We saw it in turn 5, and then you saw it in turn number 8 again. The harder you push these cars, the more they lift up those back tires, and that's fine. Those back tires don't really do anything. You think about it, it's a front-wheel drive car. The front wheels do all the driving, all the steering, and most of the braking as well. The back wheels are just along for the ride, essentially, as some of the drivers have told me in the past. You want to get the car to slide just a little bit. Apparently, Loost is fast in a TCR class. As you see, 3rd place in class is the 86 of Quinnitrell, as Quinn works through some of the slower traffic in the TCA class cars as he goes around the 26 of Chloe Drummond. Now sets his sights on the 12 of Peter Hansen, the pair of black cars towards the tail. So that's a Subaru BRZ and the Hyundai Veloster of Chloe Drummond. But Quinn Atrell is chasing the two leaders and trying to close the gap. He's got quite a significant margin to get up and try and catch the 84. But again, just like we talked about with Connor Atrell, Quinn Atrell had equally bad luck in 2023. So to stand on a potential podium here in the opening event of the Sports Car Championship Canada presented by Michelin, that would be an amazing finish for that team. No doubt they would be over the moon happy, as is the 22 Jack Polito. Again, the difference at the front is about 6.5 seconds. The last time they crossed the stripe between the 22 of Jack Polito and the 4 of Justin Di Benedetto. So Polito continues to now just really cruise. His quickest lap was just under 123. And talking about quick laps, it looks like Richard Boak is really starting to push now. The gap at the front was almost 2 seconds at one point, and now it's only several car lengths as Dean Baker is soon to have some company.
Well, that 84 car of Boak was a fraction of a second quicker, so he has been chipping away on Dean Baker when it looked as though Baker was going to just continue to build that lead among the TCR cars. But Boak, with the minute 21 second lap time, is starting to reel it in. And here's another one of the battles going on a little bit further back. It looks like Ron Tomlinson and Gary Kwok going at it for what would be, I believe, 6th among the TCR cars. So there's some close racing.
Something going on with that 66 car, because he did show some smoke earlier. As now the 8 of Jonathan Young goes down a lap to your race leader, and look at Boak to the inside. Turn number 1 side by side with Dean Baker. Baker's going to try and come around the far way, but Boak to the top spot in the FAF number 84. New race leader is Richard Boak, as Dean Baker shadows him now through turn number 2, looking for an opportunity as they head up to 3.
Great fight between these two drivers as Dean Baker trying to answer the call here. They work the short chute off at turn number 3, and there is a slower car ahead of the pair. I think that is our TCA leader, Eric Coons, in car number 25 as they roll through Moss Corner. And Boak, with that minute 21 second lap time, he hasn't been able to match that in the race, but has been very close there. On that 15th lap, he was at a minute 22, and Baker was a minute 23, so he picked up a full second, and that moved him right up into contention for the win, and he was able to make the pass going down into turn number 1. So we'll see whether or not Dean Baker in car number 52 has an answer for Richard Boak. This is a tremendous fight for the lead in TCR as they work back to the line to complete what will be lap number 16. They're just about 3 or 4 car lengths apart back down into turn number 1. Baker trying to mount a challenge here of the Boak number 84 car. So this one could very well go down to the final few minutes as we're well past the halfway point, coming up on minute 23. Also looking at that fight there between Martella and Atrell. It's about a 4-second gap from Quinn Atrell in 3rd and Anthony Martella in 4th. And Baker is not letting him get away as Richard Boak and that FAF Technology-sponsored Audi about to clear off a turn 5C, and we'll watch the top-end horsepower and speed on these two TCR cars, putting on quite a show.
As fast as Boak was able to catch the 52 of Dean Baker, he has not been able to get away. So Baker has found another gear. Now, keep in mind the 52 did set quick time of the entire event. So of any car on track, the 52 laid down that lap in the early going, just lap number 6. of a 122.2, so he does have it in him, but Baker trying to find that speed now that he has to try and catch up to the 84 of Richard Boak. It was under half a second the last time they went by the stripe.
Let's take a short break. You're watching Sports Car Championship Canada Racing from Canadian Tire Motorsport Park. Welcome back to race number 1 of the Sports Car Championship Canada, presented by Michelin.
There is your overall race leader, Jack Polito, as he cuts his way through traffic. So he gets around the 38 of Megan Tomlinson and then puts a lap on a TCA class car, as Boak still has mirrors filled with the number 52 of Dean Baker. And you can tell the different classes apart because of the end wing panels and the caps on the mirrors, along with the number panels as well. So the GT4s have a blue number panel, blue caps on the wing, and then a yellow number panel for the TCRs, green number panel for the TCA class cars. As you see Boak and Dean Baker. Now Baker will catch the draft. The draft does mean a lot here in the TCR class cars as well. You have significant horsepower, but they're punching a pretty big hole in the wind when you head down this Andretti straightaway. So if you can catch that slipstream, it will benefit you big time. And that's exactly what Dean Baker is trying to do as he tries to keep up to the number 84 of Richard Boak.
And looking at that battle that's been going on for third in the TCA class, Peter Hansen, car number 12, a couple of seconds clear of Chloe Drummond, and they've been running right together throughout. As we come up on a little less than 15 minutes remaining, Anthony Martella, as on that last lap, it looked as though Quinnitrell had a quicker lap. We'll check the interval between those two drivers, a minute 23.848 for Quinnitrell in third, and then a minute 23.500. So Anthony Martella is starting to inch closer to Quinnitrell. So we could have a battle shaping up here for the third place spot in TCR. Meanwhile, we've got that terrific fight up front between Richard Boak, 84, and Dean Baker, 52. After Baker led TCR for much of the first half of this race, Boak was able to get around, but Baker not letting him get away. As that 95 car, there you can see how much ground Anthony Martella needs to make up on Quinnitrell in that 86 car. So we'll continue to watch the gap there between those two drivers, 86 Quinnitrell and 95 Anthony Martella.
It's a good look at Dean Baker. All of his wins in 2023 coming at Canadian Tire Motorsport Park. He'd love to add another one here today, but he's got to get through the 84 of Richard Boak, who's no stranger to victory lane. As a matter of fact, his 5 wins here in the TCR class, the most all-time in the Sports Car Championship Canada, presented by Michelin. So he doesn't get rattled easily when he's at the front of the field. And it looks like Dean Baker is just starting to fall off a little bit now. So the difference in the last time they crossed the stripe, about 0.8 of a second. So that gap is starting to widen just a touch as we get a good look at the number 80 of Connor Atrell. So Connor sitting in 8th overall at this point. And that would put him in the top 5, where he's been comfortably sitting for a lot of this race. It's about 28 minutes completed in this timed race for the Sports Car Championship Canada, presented by Michelin. But Atrell having one of those reasonably calm days that sometimes you just need when you're trying to figure things out and you're trying to move forward. So set the stage. A top 5 finish would be a good one for that driver. However, you do see Ron Tomlinson just coming into screen. There's Ron Tomlinson in the Audi, as he can smell blood because he can see Atrell just ahead. So he's going to put on the push here in the later stages of this race to try and catch the back of that Hyundai Elantra TCR. But catching is one thing. Passing is a completely different story.
And again, the rest of the TCR rundown there. Connor Atrell, car number 80, holding on to 5th. Ron Tomlinson in the 48 Audi is 6th. 66 Gary Kwok in the Honda Civic 7th, and 38. Megan Tomlinson 8th, and the last of the TCR cars is Jonathan Young in car number 8. We're watching that race for 3rd in TCR, Quinnitrell and Anthony Martella. And it is down to 2.8 seconds on that last lap. Quinnitrell, 1:25. Anthony Martella, 1:23. So he has cut right into that lead. It's less than 3 seconds. Also, that battle in the TCA class, they're going to go side by side off of turn number 3. Chloe Drummond in car number 26 trying to run down that number 12 car that is currently holding on to the 3rd place spot in TCA. That is Peter Hansen in that Subaru BRZ TCA entry. And Dave Bradley, that is a good one. They've been back and forth.
It is a good one. We talked a little bit about Chloe Drummond racing in her very first start. But that's part of an accelerating inclusion plan done with several partners, Mosport Karting Center, Michelin Motorsport, Hyundai Canada, and Pfaff Motorsports. And it's the car is prepared by MD Autosports with staff, Pfaff Motorsports as well. So it's a team effort, and it's working to promote women in racing and work people up from karting into cars as well, creating that extra stepping stone and creating that bridge to get people into sports car racing. And it's a really cool program. It's the first time that we've seen it on track here in round number 1. As you see, your race leader currently quietly has been out in front. Eric Kuntz in the 25. He qualified on pole, and he's just been clicking off lap after lap, and he currently has a nearly 14-second gap over 2nd place in class. Robert Cipriani Dietrich, who is running in the 5 in the Subaru BRZ. Again, another driver we really haven't seen much of, just because it's been an uneventful day for both of those drivers. But when you're Eric Kuntz and you're running at the front, it needs to be uneventful. And the 52 of Dean Baker is in the tire wall, was 2nd in the TCR class, and is now backwards into the tire wall. Is that turn?
That turn 8.
That's turn 8. So at the end of the Andretti straightaway, damage is minimal to the back end of that number 52 Audi. He manages to refire and get going as he comes through turn 10. We'll have a look at it. It doesn't even appear as though there's body damage to it, so he gently kissed the wall. But remember, he was putting on a push to try and catch Richard Boak in the 84 at the front of the field in the TCR class, and now he's sliding way back. And as a matter of fact, he's letting some of the other cars go through as he's got a whole lot of dirt on those tires.
Well, indeed, that is going to shuffle the order here in TCR. Richard Boak now in car 84, the fastest of the TCR drivers in qualifying, well clear of Dean Baker in car number 52, and it looks like he is just on cruise as some of those other cars, including the 8, has gotten around Jonathan Young. So officially or unofficially now, I think Dean Baker down into 12th overall after that off-track excursion at the end of the Andretti straightaway in turn number 8. We'll pick up on what is now the new driver running as Boak goes through. And then I would think Quinnitrell should take over that 2nd place spot. And that would move Martella up into 3rd. But we'll wait for the official timing and scoring monitor to move over here as we wind it down, coming up on about 7 minutes remaining. There is Martella in car number 95. He continues to close on Quinnitrell, who has moved to 2nd. Anthony Martella 3rd now in TCR. And
Boak is working through lap traffic into turn number 5, so he dives to the inside of Eric Kuntz and really had to push it under braking there. And he doesn't have any pressure from behind, so he doesn't really have to do too much as Dean Baker does find pit lane. So what started as a very promising day with quick lap of the race is going to end in disappointment for the driver of the 52. And remember, he's not racing for an overall championship. He was taking part in the CTMP Cup presented by Omologato watches, but Dean Baker's going to cut this one short, come back for round number 2 tomorrow if damage is not too bad hidden underneath all the bodywork of that Audi RS3.
Let's take a short break. You're watching Sports Car Championship Canada Racing from Canadian Tire Motorsport Park. Welcome back to race number 1 of the Sports Car Championship Canada presented by Michelin.
Jack Polito has it absolutely on cruise control in front of the GT4 class. He has about a 7-second gap and continues to maintain. He's just a few tenths quicker than Justin DiBenedetto lap after lap, so he's able to maintain that gap. And you're right, this dice now for what will be second spot in class in the TCR class is starting to tighten up. Quinn in the 86, the Hyundai Veloster and then the Audi of Anthony Martella. Martella's been on a march forward since the drop of the green. He is up, believe it or not, 6 positions already. The 15-year-old is absolutely on a tear.
Well, he had whatever that problem was in qualifying that produced the DQ, and he started at the back of the TCR cars, and now he is closing as Dean Baker's car going back to the paddock. Meanwhile, our focus of attention, this battle for second and third involving the Hyundai of 86 Quinn, 95 Anthony Martella. That last lap, Trell was a minute 24 and Martella a minute 23 and change. So he is close to within less than a second as they work the Andretti back straightaway. Trell trying to hold him off, but here comes Martella, that Audi a little bit quicker than the Hyundai. He's going to try to make the pass on the outside going into the top of the S's. Trell will hold him off. Martella was right there as the two drivers separated by just a car length through turn number 9. This is the best battle on the racetrack as we come up here on less than 5 minutes to go.
Little pump of the brakes from Martella down the back straightaway. He moved to the outside to try and make his move and then thought better of it at one point. So he touched the brakes just a little bit, fell in behind single file through turn number 8. And that's where he continues to sit now as we go back through turn 2. And you're right, Pat, this is the best battle on the track so far, and it is Trell who is trying to hang on to that second place in class. Anthony Martella has been moving forward. It was 0.2 of a second the last time they crossed the stripe, so it is that close, but the clock is ticking. We're sitting at 36 minutes right now, according to official timing and scoring. So if you're Quinn Trell in the 86, in that Hyundai Veloster N, and you're trying to keep the number 95 Audi just in behind, what do? You pick up a little bit of a toe from the 25 of Eric Kuntz as you head down the straightaway. Martella pokes a little bit to the inside, but he's going to run into the 25 of Kuntz on the inside of turn number 8. They go 3 wide, and Martella's on the inside, out on the outside, and around goes Quinn Trell in the 86. Trell tried to stick it way up on the outside, might have got into a little bit of a dirt patch and a lazy spin into the grass, but does not hit anything. What does happen is he loses a ton of real estate on the racetrack.
Well, we'll see how this shuffles at top 5 in TCR, but this has been a great run from the back of the TCR grid by Anthony Martella up into second overall in TCR. Quinn Trell, Ron Tomlinson fourth, Connor Trell fifth, and then Gary Kwok in the Honda Civic 66, ninth overall. He would be sixth in TCR. Megan Tomlinson in the 38 car runs 10th overall and 7th in TCR. As we wind it down, that number 22 Polito Ford Mustang of Jack Polito has opened up over 7 seconds on Justin DiBenedetto in the Porsche number 4, and then Caden Goodridge about 2 or 3 seconds further back in third. Richard Volk 84 in fourth. Anthony Martella rounding out your top 5.
And there you can see the 80. That is Connor Luttrell, who is having that great run in the top 5. Seems to be off the pace just a little bit. He might have been letting up to let the 22 of Jack Polito go, but the difference in speed was quite great going into turn number 5. So we'll keep an eye on the 80 to see what's happening with Connor Luttrell. But Jack Polito continues to lead in the GT4s. There is your race leader in the TCR class, 84. Pfaff Technologies Audi of Richard Boak, and then the leader in the TCA class, it continues to be Eric Kuntz. He currently sits 12th overall on track in that Honda Civic. And Kuntz coming home in the runner-up position last year in overall points. 2 wins, 11 podiums in 12 races as they get the last lap board. More importantly, Jack Polito gets the last lap board. And he's looking to add to his stellar resume here at Canadian Tire Motorsport Park. He has never lost. And the other Audi, so that is Quinn Luttrell, now off track in turn number 2. So it appears as though he's pulled off track. So something amiss. And Connor Luttrell also down pit lane. So yes, indeed, confirmed troubles for both Hyundais in the last few stages of this race. On the last lap as Jack Polito works through 5A and B for the final time. We mentioned he's never lost here at Canadian Tire Motorsport Park. He's never finished off the podium driving a GT4 class car in the FEL Sports Car Championship Canada Series presented by Michelin. And today he has been perfect. Jack Polito, couple tenths quicker, best lap to best lap over Justin DiBenedetto, who's had a great debut in the GT4 class. Currently sitting in second, but Polito will ease his way through turn number 8. Now on to turn number 9 and one more corner, and he will see the checkered flag waved here on the front straightaway. The Polito Ford Mustang will see the double checkered first winner here in 2024. Jack Polito keeps his undefeated streak alive. And now we go back to the TCR class, and through 8 and 9 for the final time, the man known as Ricky Bobby. He already has the most wins in TCR in SCCC history, and he's going to add to that total today. 6th time he'll visit victory lane over the course of his career. Richard Boak wins TCR, and then rounding out the winners today in the TCA class. He just has to bring it home one more time, but the 25 of Eric Kuntz in turn number 5 has had just a perfect day, quietly at the front of the field in TCA, and has already seen the checkered flag. So he's on his cool-down lap. A big congratulations. Eric Kuntz, the winner in the TCA class.
And it looked like we had a total of 7 cars complete that 29th lap. So it looks like we'll have, I believe, just the Gary Kwok, I think, will be the last of the cars to go through to complete lap 29. Just the 7 cars finishing here on the lead lap. Jack Polito, your GT4 winner, followed by the winner in TCR, Richard Boak, and then Eric Kuntz, the winner in TCA.
Let's take a short break. You're watching Sports Car Championship Canada Racing from Canadian Tire Motorsport Park. Welcome back to race number 1 of the Sports Car Championship Canada presented by Michelin.
And let's take a look at the top 3 in the GT4. So it's Polito, Justin DiBenedetto, and Caden Goodrich, your top 3.
A familiar spot for Jack Polito here at Canadian Tire Motorsport Park. Winner once again. Your perfect record remains intact. This car was on rails today.
Yeah, it certainly was. Car was handling great. We got it good in testing there, and yeah, we just put the hammer down in the race.
Is it a comfort level that you have here? Is it the combination of you and the car, but it just seems like everything goes your way?
I just feel really comfortable in the car at the end of the day, and I'm one with this beast, so it's just like driving every other day, you know? It's out there, putting the hammer down, feeling the car, making sure I don't make any mistakes.
And then back into the TCR class, we have, of course, the winner is Richard Boak, Anthony Martella, and Ron Tomlinson came back for a top 3 finish in the TCR class.
Richard, winner in the TCR class here at the opening event for sports cars. Tell me about the move to get yourself out front.
Yeah, Dean got the jump on me at the start, and at that point it was kind of a managing tire game. I could see he was pushing really hard from the green flag, which in a 45-minute race usually doesn't end well at the end. So I kind of was just buying my time. At the moment I saw he started to have some understeer, I started closing up the gap. That forced him to push a little bit harder, induced more understeer. And then I did get a little bit lucky. We caught lap traffic coming into 10, and he was kind of bad timing. I saw it about to happen, so I slowed up in 9 so I could get a real good run through 10. We drag raced down the start finish, but I had the run on him. So at that point, it was really just managing tires. And then Dean pushed a little bit too hard at the end and had a little bit of an off. And I found out Anthony finished second. So I'm super pumped for him, his first sports car race. And I'm sure he wanted to win and me to be second, but I'm super happy the way we ended up.
Congratulations.
Thank you so much.
And TCA, we have Eric Kuntz as the winner, followed by Robert Cipriani Dietrich, and Peter Hansen comes home in the top 3. So that was a tight finish there towards the end of the TCA class.
I think the smile on his face says it all. Eric Kuntz, winner in TCA here in race number 1. Tell me about the drive today.
It was definitely a challenging drive to start with. Robert Cipriani held with me there for a while. Traffic came up on us and then gave us a bit of a gap. So I continued to build the gap from there. Right on that last lap, I had a gas sputter and it cut all power, so throttle wasn't working. Had to completely turn off the power of the car, flick it back on, restart it, and get going again. So it was pretty crazy.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
The Sports Car Championship Canada is brought to you by Michelin, the presenting partner of FEL Motorsports. By Braden Motorsport, the official trackside tire support and service provider for FEL Motorsports. The CTMP Cup is presented by Omologato, the official timepiece partner of FEL Motorsports. The FEL Motorsports Nitro Center is brought to you by Purity Gas, the official nitrogen supplier for FEL Motorsports.
Well, once again, a big congratulations to the 3 winners, Jack Polito, Richard Vogt, and Eric Kuntz, here in round number 1 of the Sports Car Championship Canada, presented by Michelin, here as part of the Castrol Victoria Day SpeedFest here at Canadian Tire Motorsport Park. I'm Dave Bradley. Thank you to Pat Gonzalez for joining me in the booth, and we'll see you next time.